Namaskar, this is Akhilesh Bhargava. Welcome to Tit-Bits on Business and Finance with me. India's Infrastructure and MSME Minister Shri Nitin Gadkari says that India needs at least 50 to 60 lakh crores by way of foreign direct investment, which is foreign investment, in order to boost the economy, in order to ensure that it recovers from this present economic crisis that we are facing. He says that FDI is the need of the hour, and that without this kind of a liquidity, which is 50 to 60 lakh crores, he says that the wheel of the economy is not going to move at the momentum in which we want it to move. He then says that it is infrastructure and MSME segments of the country which can attract this kind of foreign investment from investors abroad. The Deputy Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Shri Dinesh Sharma, says that companies leaving China should not go to Vietnam and they must come to India. Many other ministers and babus say the same thing that Mr. Gadkari says, the same thing that the Uttar Pradesh Deputy Chief Minister says. All these men who say this are men in power. They all say the obvious, but none of them do the obvious despite them being in power. And doing the obvious to us would mean get in all those reforms, improve the governance such that we are able to attract this kind of an investment and we are able to attract companies from China coming to India and prevent them from going to other destinations. Thus, they all state the most obvious. None of them do the obvious. And the obvious is not rocket science. According to us, it is the system which does not have the will to act. And that's because everybody in the system has some vested interest or the other in order to maintain status quo. And status quo continues, Indian economy continues to suffer. What clearly comes across in India is that we have pathetic governance in the country, and rating agencies like Moody have pointed this out. The fact is that we have maximum government and minimum governance, and not the reverse as the Prime Minister would want it to be. The reality is that solutions to rectify the situation, solutions to improve the situation are very simple and obvious, provided the system wants it. It is the system that doesn't want it, and thus the present state of affairs continues. If the government could manage to repeal Article 370, something which turned out to be contentious and controversial, if the government could introduce CAA, which again became a matter of huge controversy, if the government could resolve the Ram Mandir issue, then what is it that prevents the government from resolving issues that are hurting the economy and they have been festering for years together? It is because of this approach that, much as may wish that FDI should come into the country in huge measure, it does not come in. And when we say this, we are talking about direct experiences that investors have had when they are dealing with India, not just foreign investors, but even domestic homegrown investors. And today we are actually going to give you statements or observations of foreign investors that we have very often encountered when they are dealing with India. The first one that is now being said very often is that India is an attractive market, but it is not an attractive investment destination. And because it is not an attractive investment destination, we don't want to invest here. We still want to tap the market. Maybe we will trade, but we will not invest in the country. The second is, they say that India is a land of opportunity, but land of opportunity only for those who can game the system. In other words, cronyism continues to remain, and it is the cronies who are able to benefit out of the economy and not those who are not cronies or those who can't game the system. The other common observation that comes is that India has a scene where we have over-regulation but under protection of the investor, under protection of the investment. The over-regulation makes the enterprise suffer and under protection makes the investment suffer. That's another common observation that we have been seeing. India is a country where there is no respite from misuse of law. If the system does not want to give what is due to you, it does not come to you. It certainly does not come to you on time, and you may have to struggle for a long time before you get what is due to you under the very law that you are governed. It is the system that refuses to cooperate. Further, it is said that being on the right side of the law in India is just not enough. What is equally important or more important is to be on the right side of the Babu and of the Neta. That's a common comment that comes from investors about India. Just because you're on the right side of the law as an enterprise is not going to be enough for you. In a lot of countries, the bureaucracy can be extremely insensitive. It may be difficult to handle. It could be corrupt. It could be mired in red tapeism. But then, respite and relief in such cases comes from the judiciary. It is the judiciary that is there to ensure that you get what is due to you. Unfortunately, in India, investor after investor is experiencing that judiciary in India is a big disappointment. It is slow, it is uncertain, it's expensive, and often it is observed that it is not seized with the ground reality, thus calling it insensitive. It is this again which ensures that India is not an attractive investment destination. Further, there may be provisions for appeals, there may be provisions of going to courts, but business is not about pursuing appeals and court cases. These are the last item on the agenda of any businessman. He should get what is due to him in the normal course of operation if he follows the law of the land. But in India, business seems to be about pursuing appeals, pursuing court cases, and that completely distracts the enterprise for the very purpose why it was formed. It has increasingly now been observed and said by investors, both Indian and foreign, that institutions in India are not trustworthy. Individuals can have an integrity deficit, they have it very often, but institutions are expected to not have an integrity deficit. That is why they are called institutions. And many an investor has burnt his fingers because he finally realized that the institution itself is not trustworthy. The institution itself indulged in practices which were unfair and unethical. And that has become a major discouraging factor for those who want to invest in the country. It is again a common observation that every authority, every position, every post in this country of any power has got politicized, has got puppetized. This has been a common observation. Because of that, vested interests continue to fester and they are a hindrance to doing smooth, normal business. Further, safety of capital is a big issue in India. Capital in India is at constant risk for various reasons, and that again becomes a reason why investors shy away from India. Investors are willing to take risk. Investors recognize that the market has got risk, but that doesn't mean that their capital is put to risk because of non-market conditions, because of abnormal situations. That's become an issue in India even more. It thus is said very often that India is a market only for those who are deep-pocketed, only for those who can take the brunt of contingencies that come, who can bear the cost of any kind of a contingency that may come, and only those are able to then survive and go ahead further. Contingencies very often prove fatal in the country. They make businesses unviable. Those contingencies could be a sudden change in government laws. Those contingencies could be that tax laws are implemented in an extremely wrong manner and they foist companies with huge demands. All these contingencies make it very clear that if you got deep pockets, you will be able to bear them. Otherwise, your business may close down. That's yet another experience and comment that comes from investors nowadays. Further, the common experience of every entrepreneur in the country, whether homegrown or foreign, is that when you're dealing with the government, you need to pay money to get back your own money. You may be a taxpayer entitled to a refund. That's the experience. You may be a vendor to the government. That's again the experience. You don't really get your dues till some greasing of the palms is done. Thus, it is a sad state of affairs. Your own money is due to you. The government admits it, but pay to get back your own money. And this condition becomes so serious that if you are a vendor to the government, if you are a contractor to the government, till you do not get your last payment out of the babu, you are at the mercy of the babu. This is not a fair situation. The system is insensitive, the system is unfair, the system is unscrupulous. And why should a foreign investor in that case come to India? The fact is that these are actual experiences that we are narrating by being in touch with investors, both domestic and foreign. It is a thankless situation. Everybody states the obvious, as we said, but nobody does the obvious. And because of that, enterprises in India do not grow. They do not become giants. The former CAA says that in India, we have a situation where enterprises remain dwarfs. the system is largely to blame for it. The system ensures that you remain dwarfs, and the system ensures that the solutions which are so obvious, they are just not given. We are not stating what the solutions to be, because to us they are very obvious, and very often we have discussed them in our episodes. So at the moment, our purpose was only to tell you what do investors think about coming to India and why don't they come to India. Unfortunately, Indian economy can't take this anymore, and some reforms which are serious and time bound will have to be initiated. This is Akhilesh Bhargava signing off till we meet again. Namaskar.
हमारे घरों में भी बच्चे होते हैं जो हमसे प्यार दुलार की आस करते हैं।
हमारा भी जीवन साथी है जिसको हमारे ड्यूटी से घर आने का इंतजार होता है।
हमारे घर में भी एक बूढ़ी माँ है जिनके लिए आज भी हम ही आंखों के तारे हैं।
लेकिन हम हमारे घरों में नहीं हैं। आपकी सुरक्षा में कोई कसर न रहे, इसलिए हम अपने प्रियजनों से दूर हैं।
हम में से ही कुछ तो अब इतने दूर जा चुके हैं कि वो वापस अपने घरों को लौट भी नहीं पाएंगे।
हमें गर्व है कि हमारे कंधों पे मुंबई शहर के नागरिकों की सुरक्षा की जिम्मेदारी है। हमारे जज्बे और बलिदान को व्यर्थ न जाने दे। इस संकट के समय में आप घर पे रहे, सुरक्षित रहे।
Now be the first to know about the latest updates on our new news app. Go on your Android or iOS, search for HW News Network. Download our app, choose the language you prefer to get updates in, and be up to date with the latest news.
If you like this video, please share it, and we would love to hear your comments in the comments section down here. Also, please do like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter to get minute-to-minute news updates. For more such shows and videos, well, subscribe to our YouTube channel.